Good morning, good morning. I have a little upcycling project to do right now, and considering Shedwars is all about new gardeners and not wanting to spend a overly great amount on gardening, I figured maybe I should put this upcycling project into Shedwars. So welcome back to Shedwars, Northern Hemisphere 2022, and what I've been doing over the winter was wondering about how to go about my perennials. I found that I was putting them in the ground when they're very small, and they're quite susceptible to slugs and snowshoe hare. So I thought, if I had planters, but I wasn't too happy with the idea of buying a bunch of plastic planters. And yeah, one or two is only a few bucks, but if you want to plant a bunch of trees or a bunch of herbs that you want to have in planters for a while, then money stacks up quite fast, right? Right now I have these 7 Osage orange. I have this full bed of, we've got our kiwi, black locust, red mulberry, and there is 4 or 5 honey locusts there. Looks like I got 8 honey locusts. The thought came to me one day, I have a bunch of this stuff. This is siding, so it's UV protected actually. More over there by the fence. But I have this little bit down by the house in a separate area, so I'm going to start with that. And like I said, the thought come to me, can I make a pot out of that? So I'll meet you in the shed. I'll bring in some of this. Winter did come back. I did have a bit of depression there for a while, and I got distracted on things, etc., etc. But now I fought my way back to actually doing YouTube videos again. This is what I was distracted with. I finally figured out this is a lathe. You can take a 4-foot piece, but it was made just at a local machine shop. It's not a proper commercially made lathe. So there are a couple of little inconsistencies to it. Plus the wood I had, as you already know, I get the dying and dead wood. Some of it is soft, so it's a little more difficult. Because of that, the normal dry spur with the tailstock that didn't spin just wasn't doing it for me. I couldn't get the wood to stay on solidly on the lathe. Do I have this on tight? Yeah. This thread is not the size of the most lathe that you get, so I ended up, there is a lathe with this size thread. I made a faceplate. Found a bolt that would fit. This is a sprocket from a snowblower, and got it welded together. This is a piece of wood I'm turning right now. My only challenge now is I have to get a flat piece that I can bolt the faceplate tight too right away, because this is an AC motor on this. It's either on or off. It doesn't have the variable speed of your commercial built lathes. So I had actually made this one. You see, this is a 4-inch nursery pot. Almost fits. I made this one for it to fit. I'm going to have to put those back on the lathe and try to get them to fit right. But I finally got it. So we got a planter there. And when I made this one, my sister-in-law said, I could sell them at my bed and breakfast for you. Which was good, because if I have something that I can make and sell, then if I had an outlet to sell it, then I can make things and make some extra money on the homestead, right? But then I decided to make one with a lid, a little candy box or jewelry box. This is lined with resin on the inside. Got handcrafted in Newfoundland, Canada on the bottom, my initials and the year. So the bigger one that just has a wax coating, so it's soaked in linseed oil and a paraffin wax coating. So totally food safe. Then I decided to put some pictures on top. This one is also coated on the inside with resin. As well as this one. You see, Newfoundland and Labrador. Or this one with Newfoundland on the top. Anyway, that's what I was distracted with. Back to wanting to have a planter that you can put a tree in. This is one of the planters, the pear tree that I have out there. I bought 2 pear trees, so I should have another one of these around somewhere. So it's a fair sized pear tree. It was 3-4 feet high maybe, tall I mean. Then plus the bucket. They're 9 inches tall and 10 inches across. And what I've come up with was this. Now there is a bottom raised up in this, which gives the inside about 9 inches, even though the total pot is 10 inches, and the outside 10 inches across. So I'm going to show you how I made those now. So here's a stack of that siding. Like I said, it's UV protected because it is siding. Needs a measuring tape and a marker that works. We'll see if this one works. I want this lip to be the full length of the piece. So I'm going to turn around actually and start from this side because the lip is all the way out. And I need to cut it 10 inches high. Now the question is, how are you going to go about cutting that? That's up to you. I do have a set of tin snips. I'm left-handed though, and everything is, well, unless it's specially made for right-handed people. Let's see if I can actually use my right hand and cut this any sensible. Nope. See, that's the trouble. I'm just doing this to show you that it can be done with a pair of snips. Like this. I have a scroll saw, so this will be much easier, and that's what I'm going to use, just because it is, like I say, easier. Now push this out of my way. Oh, you're getting tipsy. I need to put a couple holes in one side in the bottom of each of the upper pieces. Now, as you know, siding clips together just like that. I think I gotta move you back a bit. So I have 3 pieces. The holes are on the bottom. Turn it around and I'll clip the bottom piece and the top piece together. Now I have this circle, just like you've seen with the other pot. It holds together. You put the soil inside, of course it's going to be pushing out, right? Clean that off. And I'll take my marker and I'm marking around the inside. Now you see, because siding is a factory made thing, when you put 3 pieces together, it will be the same shape every time. That's the ideal there. So over at the scroll saw again. There, we got a hair regular roundish piece. Because of the way this is, it'll only go together one way, right? Because it's a irregular piece. Yes, it will fit. Now you see, we have a bottom. But you say, that bottom's going to fall right out when you pick it up. And right you are. We have a couple of options. And depending once again on what you have. I have some string here. This is the biodegradable salsa twine, which I don't know if it will last or not. So this is something that is going to be an experiment. But I do have another idea. Which I can do. But like I say, it depends on what your resource base is. So what I'm doing is trying to get this string to go through here. Because it was too far over the other pieces hindering it, so I'm going to have to there, I've got that in there, and I'll go directly across to the other opposite side. Going across, measuring across here, and cutting it, so that I can just start this down on the other, in the hole next to it. Now see, the advantage to this twine is that it holds knots really well. The possible disadvantage is that it might decompose. Now when I do my next one, I gotta remember, see, every hole here, I put these over too far, so I have to put another one now so that I can get the string through easy. Now, of course, what I could do is just measure it off like that, cut it, kind of want to keep this in here when you're doing the string version, because then you can draw the string tight and it stays in its proper shape. Whereas if you did it without that in there, you can distort it when you're tying it up, and then your bottom wouldn't fit in. Bring it so that they're equidistant. Sometimes it works just to poke it through. Sometimes you have to fold the string over. Now, see, we have a bottom. It's held together, held in with these strings. And we put some soil in it. Before you put soil in each one as you're doing them, remember, if you're doing several, it's a good idea to have a template. So I'm going to take this one back out of here. Put that up there. And use this as a template to draw out for another one. I'm going to keep this piece as a template, and each one I'll draw off this one, right? Now I'll cut this one out and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the one I just cut out from the template. See, you won't get it exact anyway. And you have gaps around. Now you need drainage, of course. So for the string choice, you've got drainage. I just went out and got one of the Osage orange. See, the roots aren't that deep. Be careful when if you're growing these and handling. All of these thorns, they're big, they're sharp, and they're strong. And I have a bag of soil here. It would be nice to have a scoop other than the ones that's attached to the ends of my arms. But I'm not spying a scoop here right now. You know, I thought there was a little garden shovel here somewhere. I'm only going to go that far yet because I kind of want to put this in and fill in around it. See, I don't want to dig myself with one of those thorns. There. That hasn't revived from its winter rest yet. So it'll be perfectly fine. I'm going to set that outside. Now my ideal scene is to I'll have a bunch of these and I can grow them closer together and move them apart as they push out up here. Once they get a fair size, then I'll plant them out, because I've been finding that planting them out too small, I believe I already said, they get attacked by slugs and snowshoe hare. But when they get a little bigger, especially these, because of these thorns, they are supposedly resistant to browse by hares and deer and that kind of thing. Another thing I'm liking about this string idea, if these degrade, then I could put something in like a nylon string or a reusable wire. If I was going to use nylon or wire, I'd want to be able to actually untie it and reuse it. But with this biodegradable stuff, I can just take it, cut it off, and throw it in the compost. So imagine now I got my tree in this one and it's growing up. I want to take it out. In this regular pot like this, you'd have to tip your tree down, hold on to the trunk and beat on the bottom and try to work it out. With this idea, you just snip the ends of those strings strings are out. And there your tree will be sitting, not contained into anything, almost like you had a bare root tree except for the soil around the roots. Take it and put it in the hole. And of course, then you take your pot, you stack these pieces all together. There's a string stuck there. You stack these pieces all together like this, and then you stack your bottoms all together, and they'll take up very little space. This fits down there somehow. You can have quite a few pots stored in a very little area. See, the other ideal that I mentioned what I thought about was this. If you had a glue gun where the bottom touches the sides, you could glue it along both outside and inside. You'd have to put a bead of glue along both sides. Now, not all the way around, because then you'd be sealing off your pot and you wouldn't have as good a drainage. I mean, drainage would come out around the sides here, but you would greatly reduce your drainage if you just sealed that whole entire end off. But you could glue that bottom in with a hot glue gun. But what I thought about was, I think that would make it more difficult to come apart. When it comes to environmental factors and whatnot, nylon string had the hot glue, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I think. So I'm just going to stick with the string. And I'm going to make a bunch of those and have them ready to go together when I'm transplanting those trees or I'm planting up something new. So hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe to follow along. Like I said, this is Shedwars, a global collaboration for giving tips and teaching new gardeners. So if you look it up on either hashtag Shedwars or on Will It Grow channel, John at Will It Grow, you'll have a playlist there of all of the people that are involved in Shedwars. Thank you very much for watching. Come back for the next one. I'll see you in the next video.